Dale Guino has been working in wildlife management for nearly 4 decades. He's currently the executive director of Wild North, which rescues injured and orphaned wild animals in Alberta. But a bulk of his career was spent in Ontario.
I took a full-grown mountain lion out of a biker clubhouse, a 23-foot-long reticulated python that somebody was bathing in the bathtub with their 3-year-old little girl.
So when he heard that an Okotoks woman was fined for importing serval cats, he wasn't surprised. The two cats were purchased in BC and Quebec, where it is legal to own servals, but
it's when you bring it across the border into the province of Alberta that it becomes illegal.
That's because each province has its own legislation when it comes to the ownership of exotic animals. Guino says Alberta is one of the most strict provinces, but in parts of Ontario, it's still legal to own a tiger.
Oh, they leave it up to the respective municipalities. So large centres like Toronto have bylaws preventing you from having these big scary animals, but in small townships, not so much.
Alberta does allow some legal exotic animal ownership like specific reptiles, amphibians, and birds. For other exotic animals, you need a zoo or research permit. But there are loopholes. For example, wolves are illegal to own in Alberta, but a wolf hybrid is not.
So even things like wolf hybrids, generally speaking, are not the kind of animals to make appropriate pets.
This is Leo. He's a little tortoise who had a feeding tube placed today.
Veterinarian Darren Mandrusiak treats exotic animals at his Edmonton clinic. He says even the smaller species require complex care.
The care at home is difficult, it's niche, and it requires a fair bit of information, knowledge, skill.
He says people have walked into his clinic with illegal animals like endangered frogs and birds. His policy is to take care of the animal and provide education, but that isn't always the case.
In situations where someone has an animal that is very illegal and is obviously suffering from welfare concern, we have reported them in those situations.
Guino believes other provinces need to copy Alberta's robust legislation to limit the transfer and ownership of exotic animals. Nav Sangha, CTV News, Edmonton.